Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Chris and today we are talking about Hyllion. Now, Hyllion is a company that has received a lot of talk and hype, especially in the investing world, and I've watched countless and endless amounts of videos about whether I should or shouldn't invest in Hyllion. But today I'm going to come from it with a bit of a different angle. Now, for those of you who don't know, Hyllion, and if you don't know, where have you been? But Hyllion is a company that's very similar to Tesla and very similar to Nikola as well in many ways, but essentially is a hybrid electronic sort of truck manufacturer, and their focus is way more on the sort of the commercial vehicles, so the big sort of trucks and the commercial side of the business. And Hyllion is owned by a guy called Thomas Healy. He is someone that I have spent a lot of time sort of looking at, watching, and seems like it's sort of a very genuine guy. And so from a company perspective, it's always good to know that the company is ran by a guy who seems like he's got himself switched on, that he seems like a genuine guy and really is about sort of future thinking about how we can have electricity and hybrid vehicles and move away from sort of fuel and fossil fuel vehicles, and really is a forward thinker and very similar to Tesla. Now, that's why there's a lot of hype around Hyllion for obvious reasons, that the fact that they're being compared to Tesla in many ways, and obviously forward thinking and future thinking like Tesla have been. And obviously from a stock market perspective, Hyllion could be the next Tesla in the sense of that upward spike that we see with Tesla. You know, even this year that we see after the crash at $500, now we're sitting at $2,000 ahead of their stock split. So, you know, Tesla has shown that an electricity company, a hybrid vehicle company that's focused on energy, can grow on the stock market, and so that's why there's a lot of hype around Hyllion, and that's why at the moment, you know, a lot of people are umming and ahhing about whether to invest, and most likely if you've clicked on this video you're thinking the same. So what I want to do today is, after there's lots of videos that are going to go into a lot of detail about Hyllion, about their financials, that we know that they're obviously creating products that are already on the market, that they're actually selling, where you compare that to Nikola, for example, who were a very similar situation where they, to get onto get publicly traded, they went through the similar merger that Hyllion will be doing. But the difference between Hyllion and Nikola, for example, is Hyllion are actually selling product that they've got actual revenue that they can produce and aren't just sort of predicted revenue. So Hyllion's in a very good position, and there's a lot of videos out there that are going to break down that sort of the financial side, look at the balance sheets, give you a real in-depth knowledge about that company. And I fully appreciate that you should be doing your research and watching lots of videos on various stocks before you invest on it. But the purpose of this video today is to kind of give a slightly different look and a sort of approach to investing in hyper stocks, or stocks that have a lot of interest in them. And for me personally, as a new investor, so a bit background story if you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I started investing in the stock market in March. So my investing journey is, you know, 6 months if that, and so I have very limited sort of experience investing in lots of different stocks. So I use this kind of platform, YouTube, researching various sort of stocks and whether to invest in. And so I'm really coming from this from a new stock investor, a new person who's new to investing on the stock market, who may be only just getting into kind of investing their first couple of £100 into the stock market. And we've all been there, I've been there, and it can become a little bit overwhelming, I think, when looking at companies to invest in, or, you know, should I invest in them, or, you know, what should I be looking at, the balance sheet, or, you know, where should I be finding that content and that material, and who should I be trusting? And so from a new investor, from a new sort of beginner trader, as it were, or long-term investor, this is kind of just my advice that I would like to give you on especially companies like Hyllion. So for example, Nikola, who were very similar positions, so Nikola had a merger, so they had a company on the trading 2-on-2 platform that I use, the trading on the stock market, which was a shell company, which essentially was just a shell holding company that allowed Nikola to become publicly traded on the stock market. So essentially was a nothing company really. And at the time I invested, I think, £50. So we're not talking about big money, but I invested money into Nikola and not really understood what I was investing into. At the time I didn't even realise I wasn't investing in Nikola themselves. I didn't realise until that merger date back in June that I wasn't actually physically investing into Nikola. So it's a very, very similar situation with what we've got going on with Hyllion at the moment. So essentially Hyllion have announced that they will be merging with a company called Tortoise Acquisitions, or Tortoise Acquisitions, pronunciation, tomato. But essentially they'll be sort of merging with Tortoise Acquisitions at the end of Q3, so around September time. So that's why at the moment we're seeing a lot of hype in that stock, because the merger date is getting closer. And what we saw with Nikola, for example, that once that merger had been finalised, once Nikola was on the trading platform that people could invest in them, their stock price increased 3 or 4x, I think. And I think once was even trading at sort of £80. And so a lot of day traders made a lot of money that day and those kind of days around that merger. So I feel like there's a similar sort of situation with Hyllion going on. And I just want to kind of give my advice on that. So for example, with the Tortoise Acquisitions at the moment, you can only invest in Hyllion through Tortoise Acquisitions. So at the moment, as I speak, as I make this video in August, you cannot invest into Hyllion. So any money that you have, your hard-earned cash, your £10 or £10,000 that you're investing, it's not actually going directly to Hyllion at the moment, but actually into the holding company, into the shell company that is Tortoise Acquisitions. So that's one thing to bear in mind, that if you're going to invest, make sure you realise that you're not investing into Hyllion at the moment. So that's the first tip that I would give. That's the first mistake I made with Nikola the first time round, and this is the piece of advice that I would give. So don't make the same mistake as me. Just make sure that you realise that that is the case, and do your research. Continue to do what you're doing. If you're watching this video, then you're doing what you should be doing. Make sure you do your research behind it and realise that obviously you have to look at the financial size of Hyllion. You obviously have to look to make sure that it's a company that you believe in, that you see growing, or if you're just in it for the short haul and want to see sort of a day trader kind of growth stock, that can be the case. So continue to do your research, but am I being a hypocrite and saying about kind of is it or not a stock to buy or to invest in? So I'm going to be completely transparent. I'm going to be completely honest. I have invested into Tortoise Acquisitions currently. Invested into Hyllion. If you were, again, like I was touching on at the beginning, I think Thomas Healy, the CEO, has a good mindset, good direction for the company. Very similar to Tesla and Elon Musk in many ways, but very different in others. And it's a company that I can see kind of growing directly after the merger, and then obviously moving forward as well. So I have invested a few £100s into Tortoise Acquisitions. I actually bought them about 2 weeks ago at $19 or somewhere around that mark. And so actually over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a spike in that stock price. I think at the moment, the highest it was at was about $40, and now trading about $36 as I speak. And so obviously, that was down to kind of the revenue reports and the sales side of things. And I think just getting closer to the merger date in September, so there's hype definitely into the stock, and there's a lot of sort of focus around, once that merger happens, will the floodgates open and will that stock price just skyrocket? It remains to be seen, but I'm willing to take that risk and kind of see where it goes. I did make a little bit of money when it came to Nikola, and I'm hoping that it will be a similar scenario with Hyllion. The other tip that I would give is only invest money that you're willing to lose. Now, that is one piece of advice I think goes a long way in all forms of life, but especially with stock trading and investing. As much as a stock price can go up, it can go down. Remember that. And I think, only invest money that you're willing to lose. If you've got your rent to pay, if you've got £1,000 and you have to pay your rent with that, don't invest the whole £1,000. Invest 5%, 10%, or a value that you would be comfortable losing. So that's what I've done. I've not taken all the money that I have and put all my eggs in one basket and invested it all into Hyllion and think, this is a sure thing. This is gonna 4x, 5x. This is gonna make me thousands and thousands of pounds. Be cautious. I think always do your research, but make sure that you only invest money that you have, and only invest money that you're willing to lose. So, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And for me, that's what I've done. I've only invested a small percentage of the money that I have, and invested that into Hyllion or Tortoise Acquisitions. I'll drop a little bit of a screen here of me buying some more shares. I think I'm sitting at about, after I buy this, about 25 shares. So, it's a sort of a strong sort of punt, I think. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket, but I'm saying, look, Hyllion is a company that I've heard good things. I've done my research. I've looked at the balance sheet. I've looked at the sales. I'm looking at all those things, and it looks like a promising company and one that could really compete with the likes of Tesla. As we know, Tesla has grown massively over the last few years and dominating that market. So competition for me is good. But I think Hyllion are going to really focus on the commercial side, the truck side of it, whereas Nikola were kind of going into all kinds of different vehicles and roads things and offshore things and quad bike things and all sorts of stuff. So for me, Hyllion could be a company that could stand the test of time and grow over time. So like I said, I've invested a small percentage into them, and we'll look forward to kind of the merger date and see where it goes from there. So that's just it really. I kind of just wanted to give my view, my opinion on them as a new investor. I think sometimes it can be a bit daunting when you're new to it and you're watching all these videos. People are saying, buy this stock, this is the next growth, this is the next Tesla, this will make you millions, this is this. And it becomes quite easy to just sort of buy, yeah, cool, invest. I've got all my money into this stock, and then can be quite disappointed when maybe it doesn't kind of pull off. So I'm giving a little bit of a kind of cautious opinion on it and a cautious view, but I think as a new investor it can be quite easy to get caught up in it. So I wanted to give that content for you guys, and hopefully this has been helpful, especially for the new investors like myself out there that like I said, it can be quite sort of daunting and there's a lot out there, but keep doing the research, making sure you're only investing what you're willing to lose, and realise that at the moment we're not investing into Hyllion directly, but into the shell company that will be part of the merger. So hopefully that has helped. If you do have any questions around Hyllion or want me to go into any more detail, then please let me know. I can make a separate video, and I'm always willing to reply to your comments in a lot of detail. So please do leave your comments, and if you are watching this video for the very first time, my name is Chris and I make all things personal finance and stock related content. So if you have enjoyed today's video, then please do leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe if you want. I mean, you can keep seeing this every week if you want. So please leave a subscribe and like the video. A like genuinely goes a long way for a very small channel like mine. It really helps me out in the algorithm and makes my videos reach a new audience and people who may be interested in my content. So if you could just drop a like, that would be great. If you do want to get involved in stock market trading and you do want to invest into Tortoise Acquisitions and get yourself involved in Hyllion, then do sign up to Trading 212. That is the app that I use to make all my investments, and it's the app that I sort of use daily and regularly, and I have been since March. So if you do want to use that app, then there will be a link in the description that will give you the opportunity to sign up once you deposit £1, you'll get a free share, I'll get a free share, and we can start our investing journey together. So hopefully that's helped today's video, but like I said, drop a like, leave a comment and subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching.